Racism has scarred every society in history. The belief that skin color, origin, or culture makes one person superior to another. It divides, it wounds, and it corrodes the soul of both the victim and the perpetrator. The Stoics lived in an empire filled with division. Romans versus foreigners. Citizens versus slaves. Men versus women. Privileged versus powerless. By law, some people mattered more than others. And yet, the Stoics taught something radical for their time: every human being carries the same rational soul. Epictetus is the clearest example. He was born a slave. Beaten, ordered around, deprived of rights, he was by Roman law property. But through philosophy, he rose above those chains. He said, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus has the power to conquer my will." To him, dignity came not from birth or status, but from the ability to live with reason and virtue. Musonius Rufus argued that women deserved the same education as men because reason belongs equally to all. This was shocking in a culture where women were excluded from public life. Seneca reminded his readers that we are all part of one great body, and to harm another is to wound yourself. And Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, wrote, "My city and country, so far as I am Antoninus, is Rome. But so far as I am a human being, it is the world." Taken together, their message is clear. Race, class, gender, status, these are surface differences. Beneath them, all people share the same divine spark of reason. Virtue is the only true good. Vice is the only true evil. Everything else, including identity, is what the Stoics called indifference. They do not determine your worth. So how does Stoicism speak to racism today? First, it tells us to see the rational soul before the label. A Stoic asks, does this person live with courage, justice, wisdom, and self-control? That is the true measure, not the color of their skin or the place of their birth. Second, practice justice daily. Justice in Stoicism is not optional. It is one of the four cardinal virtues. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that injustice is a kind of rebellion against nature itself. To deny the dignity of another human being is to deny the order of the universe. Justice means not only avoiding prejudice but actively treating people fairly in conversations, workplaces, families, and laws. Third, challenge your judgments. Epictetus warned, what upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about things. Racism thrives on unexamined judgments, on conventions, fears, and biases we inherit without questioning. A Stoic trains the mind to pause: is this opinion rooted in reason or in ignorance? Fourth, remember the hive. Marcus wrote, what injures the hive injures the bee. Excluding or mistreating someone weakens not just them but the entire community. A society divided by prejudice is weaker, poorer, and more fragile than one built on fairness. To injure one part of humanity is to injure the whole. Fifth, lead by example. A Stoic does not need to argue loudly to make a difference. They live in a way that shows prejudice has no place in reason. They show through patience, fairness, and integrity that virtue does not belong to one group, it belongs to all. Sixth, zoom out in time. Marcus often reminded himself how quickly generations fade. Think of all the hatreds that seemed permanent in history, and yet they crumbled. What lasts? Not prejudice, not status, not power. Only virtue and vice. If that is true, why cling to racism, which corrupts the soul and dies with the age that carried it? Seventh, use adversity as training. If you face racism, you are not called to accept injustice silently, but to strengthen your character in the struggle against it. The Stoic response is not bitterness but courage. Epictetus, who suffered injustice daily, still taught patience, resilience, and dignity. He proved that no oppressor can touch your reason or your will unless you surrender it. Eighth, extend compassion. Seneca wrote, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. Even when confronting prejudice, a Stoic remembers that those who act unjustly are often ruled by ignorance. That doesn't excuse their actions, but it frees you from hatred. Justice must be firm, but it must not poison the soul with rage. Now imagine a society guided by Stoic principles. Laws written with fairness at the core. Leaders chosen for virtue rather than privilege. Communities where diversity is not feared but respected as part of the larger human family. This is not utopia, it is the Stoic cosmopolis, the world city where all humans belong. The Stoics never claimed this vision would be easy. Marcus Aurelius lived surrounded by corruption, Seneca by political violence, Epictetus by inequality. Yet each insisted that the path of reason leads to unity, not division. They believed that injustice anywhere damages the order of the whole. Racism thrives on division. Stoicism thrives on unity. The question is not, what group do you belong to, but what kind of character do you live by? That is the only test that matters. So ask yourself, do my words and actions reflect the unity of the human family, or the divisions of prejudice? Every choice strengthens one side or the other. The Stoics remind us, race may differ, culture may differ, but dignity does not. Every person carries the same spark of reason, the same chance to live with virtue, the same right to pursue wisdom and peace. If this perspective gave you clarity, tap subscribe and keep reflecting with us here at Stoic Principles. Because true philosophy doesn't separate us, it brings us closer to the truth that we are all one.